Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Film Family. Today we're going to be talking about Clint Eastwood's new film, Richard Jewell. So you just want to say it?
Yeah, it's about the 1996 bombing in Atlanta, the Olympics, and it's a pretty interesting movie. It's Clint Eastwood's newest movie. He's dropped one a year. Like he's probably been doing that since 2010 or something. I mean, he gets them out. Like he cranks them out. I gotta respect it. And I really appreciate that somebody who's like about to be in their 90s, or he might be 90 already. I don't know.
He was born in 1930, I think. In the 30s. We were talking about that today.
Okay, well, whatever age he is, like, I really appreciate that. He still makes movies.
He's
like,
still doing
I
it,
respect that. The hustle and the respect for their work. And he seems to just obviously really enjoy it. And I think this is a solid film from him. It's probably better than some of the last few films he's dropped. I didn't see
Mule.
I didn't see that, or a couple of them actually, but I think he's still a solid director. He's not quite as good as he was. Most people aren't at his age, but this is a good movie from Clint Eastwood. And I think my favorite part of this movie was definitely just the analyzation of how somebody is really bastardized and praised by the media, and it goes by day. And Paul Walter Hauser does a really good job playing Richard Jewell as this kind of mild-mannered guy who you feel bad for and understand where he's coming from, but also see how other people can kind of view it, because he doesn't do anything to help himself at being viewed in a different light than what is portrayed for him. So I think the cast of this movie is pretty solid, but he's definitely my favorite part of it.
I like Clint Eastwood. I think as a director, I like a lot of his films that he's done. I feel this movie is different than the usual flow of his movies, or at least the ones that I really watch. And I really like this movie. I actually think it might be one of my favorite Clint Eastwood movies, to be honest, because I didn't know about this bombing. It was obviously before I was born, and I didn't really know about the story, but I knew from the trailers kind of what was going on with it. And I really like the way I think that they told the story, how Bigi's talking about how it kind of shows the bastardization of his name and how it kind of affects his family life. But from what I heard about the movie is I heard that Richard Jewell's family actually got to see Hauser, I think, in character, or actually watch a performance before it came out, and they were moved to tears as to how close it was.
Oh, wow.
So he was really good. I think Kathy Bates was phenomenal in there. And Sam Rockwell, the lawyer, I just like him in a lot of
Yeah,
movies.
he's one of my personal favorite
He's a really
actors.
cool guy,
He is, for some reason.
He was really good.
Yeah.
He was like probably my second favorite part. He's pretty much the best part of any movie he's in, and he's a really good actor, and he did a really good job in this movie.
Yeah, I really liked the movie, too. I love seeing kind of the behind the scenes of someone's life as it kind of unravels. They point him as the hero, and then they take it away and make him the ultimate villain. And it shows not only the power of, the government, but the power of the media and what they can do. And so it was really interesting in that way to see that behind the scenes. And as you guys said, like everything Richard said, according to this movie, it's like he wasn't helping himself. He was being bluntly honest. and it was just like, it kind of says something about society that you can't be just you. You have to kind of conform. But he kind of stuck to his guns in a way, and so I really enjoyed this movie too. Olivia Wilde was great in it
Very
too.
good.
The movie, I think it was just super effective in everything that it did, because he acted his butt off in the movie. Like I was very like, okay, how's this guy gonna be? Is he gonna be likable or whatever? But it really put you through each point that he had to go through.
And I really liked, I think, what this movie did in the beginning when they showed him as a supply person, and then like how that relationship with him and Sam Rockwell started.
Yeah, that was good.
And I think when you get to the end of the movie, that scene is so cool too, because even halfway through, like the way it was. It wasn't a very friendly relationship, but it was a friendship, and I thought it was really cool.
I think,
Yeah, and like them showing his trouble to articulate himself and just being honest is definitely something where you can look in like history and see other people struggle with that.
Yeah.
Because it seems like people would rather have kind of a filtered version of life, rather than just kind of a direct look at it.
Good point.
And I really like that about the movie, that they showed that. And then they showed too, like Sam Rockwell had to turn off some of his, I guess I would say, sentimentality for Richard Jewell and be like, I'm just going to do my job and we're going to have to get this done. Now, one thing I definitely didn't like, I'm going to have to disagree with you guys, Olivia Wilde. I don't think she was bad in the movie, but I thought the script, like just how it dealt with her character, was really bad. It was like basically just saying, oh man, she's so evil. There was like a part where she was like laughing. It was almost like cackling. And I thought, wow, this movie does not need that. It felt like cartoonish, and honestly, a lot of the people in this movie just a couple times didn't feel realistic, and that's one of the things I haven't really liked about a lot of Clint Eastwood movies, at least the recent ones. Is sometimes the movies are just kind of like not even like archetypes or stereotypes, but they just take characters who don't fit any mold, and because of that, they kind of are just like empty, and then they have one trait that they're either bad or they're really good and really nice all the time, and it's just they're kind of boring to watch, as a viewer and as an audience member. And like if you watch Gran Torino, like some people love that movie. Personally, not a huge fan of that movie because of that type of thing. They just kind of give each character a one thing to do, and then like a couple of his movies had that. And that was my problem with her character. She didn't do like a bad job because I'm sure that's what she was told to do. But
Got it.
it was just like, look how bad this reporter is. She's bad, isn't she?
And I think I have to kind of look up her life and see was she really like that, because there are reporters like that that get glee out of destroying someone's life. So I would be very curious. I mean, Olivia Wilde did say that she just played the actors, like she was, as BJ said, what was on the page, like she, in terms of that. So.
Yeah, and like one thing also I wasn't a huge fan of is the movie's pretty ugly. Like, and I don't say it because it's not like, really flashy or color graded. It looks like it hasn't been like altered at all, color corrected. Like I get some movies don't go for any like visual like kind of flair. They just are very, very flat in their presentation. But this movie is like unusually flat at times, It just, the grays suck up every other color. And what you get on the screen is just sort of an ugly picture. And there's a couple times where I especially noticed that, like, if a door is being opened or a car is moving, like the gray just seems to like catch your eye. And the gray of a like frame of any film should never really catch your eye. I don't think so. At least the darker colors should stay back. But yeah, it was kind of an ugly movie because of that. But I don't know how much Clint Eastwood cares about that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it reminded me more of like, I don't know, maybe that as a, I'm just speaking in terms of maybe he was thinking like this is a gloomy subject, dark and gloomy, and I don't want to give the audience hope.
But like every movie he does is always like this.
See, I haven't seen that many, so that's the thing for me. Like I kind of.
No, I would agree though.
It's kind of flat.
I don't think he really thinks about
like
dynamic color range that much because
even
they're pretty basic color palettes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like maybe for this movie it worked because Richard Jewell did come from like whatever town he was in, and it wasn't like a big fancy thing. And
no, I get that, but like
color palette.
I mean, there's some movies or pretty much all movies based off of like a real event. Might not be that crazy or flashy, but when you watch the movie, your eyes can see some sort of visual contrast. I just felt in this movie, I just looked at it and felt nothing. It just kind of was flat to my eyes, and I don't know. I think even like the best and most celebrated Clint Eastwood movies are generally not celebrated for their visual style or cinematography. Which isn't a big deal, but I think you guys have anything else to add?
I do.
Yes.
I really liked Kathy Bates' monologue. I really liked Richard Jewell's speech at the end in the thing. And I think these were what made me feel something. You know what I mean? And then also Olivia Wilde. That's why I agree with you with her performance is because of that scene at the end where she was like trying to hide her tears. I feel like that's not very easy to do, as an actress, and I think that she did that very well. So I really like them.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's a solid movie. It's definitely got some of that Clint Eastwood pouring patriotism that you have been accustomed to. Pretty much every Clint Eastwood movie has like at least no less than 7 American flags somewhere. It's almost like hidden imagery. And there's a lot of that in this movie, especially where they're like just trying to show how much Richard Jewell loves his country. And it's fine, but it's like I expect that from Clint Eastwood, just this very blatant patriotism. I mean, it's not a big deal. But yeah, besides that, I mean, I thought it was an overall pretty solid movie. I thought Paul Walter Hauser, I think it might be his first performance or one of his first performances. It's a really good way to start your career. He did a great job. And, everybody else did a pretty solid job too. Like you said, Kathy Bates was solid. And, just overall, I thought it was a pretty good movie. I'm going to give it a 7.4 out of 10.
I would give it a 9.5. A 9.
A 9?
Yeah, a 9. That's what I would stick with, is a 9. I really like this movie. I thought it was a good movie.
I'm going to give it an 8.5. It was a movie that I'm happy I saw. I don't know if you necessarily had to see it in the theater, but for me, I'm happy that I did because I think it's something that I'm happy I
agree.
keep saying happy, but something that I wanted to see. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Clint Eastwood movie, you know, and you know what, I should say it's a modern Clint Eastwood movie. So I kind of went in expecting a modern Clint Eastwood movie. That's what I got. So if you really like those, you know, I mean, you might like as much as Prince did. I just think there's a lot of lack of nuance in the movie. Just sort of happens and ends, and it doesn't really ever have a moment, I think, where it sort of takes a step back to breathe it all in. But that's just my opinion.
The dining scene, yo, when he's eating his donut, like, that took it all in. You know.
All right, well, if you
smooth
saw this
beat.
movie, let us know what you thought of it. What's your favorite Clint Eastwood movie? And like, subscribe, and we will see you next time.